You've been feeling it, the tiredness, the lethargy, the anxiety, that unshakable sense that something is coming, but you can't quite name it. It's not just in your head. The world is undergoing a rapid shift in consciousness, one unlike anything ever seen, not just on this planet, but across the universe itself. Chosen ones, sometimes known as light workers, grid workers, or even earth angels, are here now for a reason: to assist in the transition toward Christ consciousness, to anchor light where darkness once ruled. But with that sacred role comes a price. They've become primary targets of the dark demonic forces that thrive on fear, division, and illusion. Forces determined to keep humanity bound to the density of the physical realm. But here's what they don't want you to know. Darkness doesn't waste energy attacking those who have no power. Instead, it focuses on those who are a threat to the status quo. The ones who carry codes. The ones who came here to disrupt the illusion. If you've been feeling blocked, drained, or overwhelmed for no clear reason, then this may be why. In this video, we'll uncover how demonic attacks actually work on an energetic and psychological level, why the chosen are targeted through fear, distraction, and emotional chaos, and most importantly, how to protect your light and rise into your unstoppable self. But be warned, once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them. Once you understand how the dark operates, you become immune to its tricks. You didn't come here to play small. You came here to remember, to awaken. And once you do, they can't touch you the same way again. Long ago, the ancients spoke of a time when darkness would grip the earth, but not forever. They prophesied that a great awakening would come, and with it, a group of souls, sealed, marked, and sent, would rise to guide humanity out of bondage. The Bible calls them the 144,000. Not just a number, not just prophecy, but a living code. These souls, described in Revelation as redeemed from the earth, were not meant to rule, but to restore. They are scattered across the planet, hidden in plain sight. Some know who they are. Others are only just beginning to remember. They are the frequency holders, the ones anchoring Christ consciousness at the turning of the age. But why would such beings be targeted? Why the resistance? Why the lifelong heaviness, the isolation, the strange knowing that something has always been watching? Because these beings, these chosen ones, threaten the entire structure that keeps humanity asleep. This battle is ancient. The Egyptians called them Apep, serpentine forces of chaos that slithered through the underworld, attacking the soul during its nightly journey. In the Vedic texts, they appear as asuras, deceivers who infiltrate thought and distort dharma. In early Gnostic writings, they took a more insidious form: Archons, parasitic beings who thrive on spiritual ignorance, working tirelessly to keep humanity locked in illusion. Across cultures, continents, and centuries, one theme repeats: these entities don't fear power, they fear awakening. And the 144,000, they are the awakening. Every spiritual tradition has its echoes of this hidden truth. The Hopi spoke of a great purification, a time of fire and rebirth. The Mayans foresaw a planetary reset of time and consciousness. The Essenes, guardians of esoteric Christ teachings, prepared for a distant future when the children of the light would return. You are living in that time. If you felt the pressure mounting internally and externally, it's because the grid is shifting. As the old falls, the dark grows louder. When you witness chaos, natural disasters, political madness, economic collapse, don't see it as the end of the world. See it for what it truly is: the collapse of the 3D matrix. But this is not the end. It's the birthing pains of a higher dimension. And you were born to walk through it, to live it, to guide it. You didn't come here to escape. You came here to transmute, to anchor light where there was only shadow, to embody the truth so powerfully that even demons must kneel. And that's why this knowledge was hidden, why texts were burned, why mystery schools were wiped from history. Because if the 144,000 remembered, the game ends. So here's the part most people never understand. Demons don't waste time on those who are asleep. They target the ones carrying codes, the ones whose light could collapse the matrix itself. If you've been feeling blocked, overwhelmed, drained, for no clear reason, this may be why. You're not being punished. You're being intercepted, because your awakening sets off a signal, not one you can hear with your ears, but one the dark can feel. Demons attack through frequency. They enter not with fangs, but with suggestions, not with claws, but with thoughts. And if you're not grounded in truth, they'll sound just like your own voice. It starts subtly. You'll feel a heaviness in your body, anxiety with no trigger, sudden mood swings, creative blocks, old traumas resurfacing like ghosts in the night. They're not random, they're hooks. Because demonic forces don't possess you in the Hollywood sense, they infiltrate your energy field, your thoughts, your emotional body, looking for resonance. Where there's unresolved pain, they build nests. Where there's trauma, they lay traps. Where there's fear, they whisper louder. They study your weak points and they weaponize them against you. One of their favorite tools is emotionally charged memories. Let's say you've made a breakthrough. You're healing, reclaiming your power. Suddenly, an old betrayal resurfaces. A wound you thought was closed begins bleeding again. Is this coincidence or energetic sabotage? Demons work like hackers. They don't destroy the system, they corrupt the code. And in the case of chosen ones, that code is emotional vulnerability. Why? Because the 144,000 were born with amplified sensitivity. You feel more, you absorb more, because you're wired to transmute energy on a planetary scale. But that same sensitivity, when unshielded, becomes a doorway. So they enter through grief, through anxiety, through rage, through apathy, not to kill you, but to stop you, to lower your frequency just enough that you forget who you are. Next, they isolate. Chosen ones often find themselves alone, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Friends fade, loved ones can't relate. You feel like you're walking between worlds with no one to speak to. This too is strategic because isolation weakens resonance. Without mirrors, without allies, without shared frequency, your signal can dim. And once you begin to question your own light, they no longer have to attack. You begin doing it yourself. But here's what they can't predict. The chosen ones remember in solitude. They awaken in the wilderness. They become dangerous in silence. This is how God traps the demonic forces, by allowing them to attack his chosen ones, knowing they will rise and alchemize the very darkness sent to derail their mission. Do you ever notice that just when you're about to level up, publish that book, speak your truth, follow your calling, chaos erupts? Suddenly your health dips, your technology glitches, money dries up, you feel overwhelmed, stuck, uncertain. That's not bad luck, that's backlash. Because every time your soul prepares to expand, the old systems try to pull you back. And the deeper truth, you are a system breaker. You weren't born to fit in. You were born to break patterns, to disrupt ancestral trauma, to collapse false grids, to rewrite human destiny. And every time you get close to doing that, you trigger the alarm in the matrix. And yet, that very resistance is proof you're on the right path. Demons don't attack the powerless. They attack the potent. They attack the rising. They attack the remembered. This is spiritual warfare, but not with swords and flames. This is about vibration, about perception, about remembering who you were before the world told you to forget. So you've seen how they enter, how they prey on pain, how they twist your own energy against you. But here's where it gets even more insidious. Not all attacks come cloaked in darkness. Some wear the mask of light. You've likely encountered it. The smiling teacher who subtly feeds your dependency. The high vibration community that shames you for being human. The love and light doctrine that avoids shadow at all costs. This is what ancient mystics called false light, a form of spiritual inversion where truth is used as a leash, and awakening becomes another form of control. Because when darkness fails to destroy you, it tries to deceive you. The Gnostics warned of this long ago. They spoke of the Archons, not just as dark entities, but as forces that mimic light to keep souls trapped in illusion. They don't stop your spiritual journey. They redirect it. They whisper, "You've already arrived. There's nothing more to learn." They offer shallow bliss to keep you from deep healing. They sell certainty to stop your inquiry. They feed the ego, not the soul. You'll hear things like, "Just stay high vibe. Don't give attention to the negative. Love is all you need." But love without discernment is naivety. Light without shadow is fragile. And avoidance disguised as wisdom is still fear. Signs you've encountered inverted light, feeling guilty for struggling, being told to let go of trauma you haven't processed, confusing spiritual bypassing for mastery, being praised only when you suppress your truth. If you've experienced this, it wasn't failure. It was a lesson in discernment, because chosen ones must walk through both false light and false darkness to know the difference. Here's a truth many don't want to hear. Some of your darkest moments were initiations. Before the soul can fully embody its light, it must be tested by the shadows it came to transform. The Egyptians knew this. They depicted the soul's journey through the underworld as a passage of fire, deception, and trial. The Christ story mirrors it. Tempted in the desert, mocked, betrayed, crucified, but never broken. These moments are not punishment. They are proof. If your life has felt like a relentless gauntlet, it's because your spirit signed up for initiation by fire. Demons are not just obstacles. Sometimes they are unwitting catalysts. The 144,000 are not here to ascend away from the world. They're here to anchor heaven into earth. The return of Christ, which the Bible made you believe was only about one man, was a deliberate inversion. The real truth is this: Christ returns through the consciousness of those immune to illusion, those immune to deception, the ones who are here now. So why do chosen ones go through betrayal, spiritual confusion, and those silent seasons? Because what's being built inside you isn't just a belief, it's a frequency. And that frequency can't be faked. You were never meant to follow blindly. You were meant to feel what's true. So ask, does this teaching empower me or shame me? Does this voice liberate or control? Does this path expand me or numb me? When you ask these questions, the false light fades, because deception can only exist where truth is unexamined. And once you've seen the trick, you can't be fooled again. You're not here to escape the dark. You're here to alchemize it. Because chosen ones don't just survive spiritual attack. They transcend it. They transform it. And in doing so, they become unstoppable. Now that you've seen the patterns, what do you do with this knowing? Not in theory, not in doctrine, but in your body, in your breath, in your awareness. Because spiritual warfare isn't won with force, it's won with frequency. And the first act of protection is not defense, it's remembrance. When was the last time you sat in silence? Not to escape, but to witness. Not to rise above your pain, but to sit beside it without flinching. Because what demons feed on most is your disconnection from the present moment. They enter through the doorways you refuse to look at. They thrive in the stories you believe without question. They echo in the background noise of your unhealed wounds. But when you pause, breathe, and bring full presence to now, their grip weakens. So begin here. What am I carrying that is not mine? What thought keeps returning that feels foreign? What emotion do I keep suppressing because it's too heavy to hold? Ask without fear, and listen like your soul is speaking, because it is. Demons do not fear your strength. They fear your stability. They fear when you're no longer reactive, when you no longer feed them with your outrage, your self-doubt, your compulsive need to fix everything. So instead of raising your vibration to escape darkness, root your frequency so deeply that nothing external can sway you. Walk like you remember where you came from. Speak like your words echo across dimensions. Hold your energy like a sovereign flame no wind can touch. This is not arrogance. This is spiritual immunity. Every time you abandon your intuition to please others, a doorway opens. Every time you suppress your truth to avoid discomfort, another crack appears. And each time you ignore that quiet knowing within, you hand your power to something that doesn't deserve it. So here is your challenge. Tell the truth, even when your voice shakes. Sit with the discomfort instead of numbing it. Choose alignment over approval. And above all, choose yourself without apology, because self-abandonment is the original possession, and remembrance is the cure. Now you see, your tiredness was never just exhaustion. Your anxiety was never just a symptom. It was a signal, a call, a summons to remember what you came here to do. You are not under attack because you are weak, but because your presence is disruptive, dangerous to the illusion. Every shadow you faced was a gatekeeper, not a curse. Every trial, an initiation. Every moment you wanted to give up was proof you were close to something the dark never wanted you to claim. The 144,000, scattered, hidden, often doubting, are waking up. And as each one remembers, a new frequency anchors onto this planet. The old grid fractures, the false programs collapse. And light, real light, not the counterfeit, not the bypass, returns. So ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped apologizing for my power? What would shift if I allowed my light to grow, even if it made others uncomfortable? What could I create? Who could I become if I stopped hiding from my own destiny? This battle isn't about defeating demons. It's about outgrowing them. It's about remembering who you are, not in spite of the darkness, but because you walked through it and chose not to become it. You are the shield. You are the spark. You are the one the world has been waiting for. If this message awakens something in you, share your story in the comments below. Let your voice ripple out so others can remember too. Subscribe if you're ready for more hidden truths, and like this video to anchor this frequency on the planet. This is not the end of your awakening. It's the beginning of your unstoppable becoming. Welcome back, Lightbearer. The world needs you now more than ever.